How are you doing?
Okay.
So I have a lot to talk to you
I'm really
about. This is
good.
the first time I've actually
Really good.
interviewed you, and I have no idea how that is. But we know we have a double album coming. I'll get straight to it. The double album I'm very excited for because we're gonna have two
Okay.
different like flavors, right? Like the
Yeah.
pop and the rock.
It's two totally different records. Yeah, it's 10 songs each side. It's like pop punk, like I would call like Sum 41 early Sum 41 pop punk, and the Hell side is like newer, heavier Sum 41 that we've kind of done in the past couple records, that sort of style. Like I don't
So
want to call it metal, but it's like our version of what we do with heavy and metal influence.
well, I've always said on I mean, as long as I've been on the radio, I've always said, and every listener will back me up. I say that Sum 41 is one of the most underrated, like harder rock bands. You know, we have the Fat Lip and all the radio play songs that we love. And it all kind of
Hmm.
goes back to like, like I remember Carrie King being on What We're All About. Like, and I make a
Yeah.
joke and I'm like, you could put a flying V into a Sum 41 song and it would actually work. And then like Carrie King being in that song like kind of backs me up. But I like that you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
this because I that's my favorite vibe that you guys do.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot. I mean, that's the thing. Over the years, we've done both sort of styles. We've had more heavy music than pop punk music, but since we started with that on those first two records, it's kind of like you're labeled that for the rest of your life. Um,
Yeah.
but there are fans of ours that don't really care for any of the pop punk stuff and only like the heavier stuff, and vice versa.
How do you remember? I mean, I know you will remember
So
this, but
this
like Carrie King being part of that song, did you guys just call him and he was like, "Sure, let's go"? Like, because it was a cool little moment that he popped in there.
Yeah, the way that happened was, I mean, he recorded the guitar solo on the song. We were doing that song with Rick Rubin, and we were shooting around names, and we are like, "Do you think we could get Kerry King?" And he's like, "I'll ask him," and he said yes. So it was kind of easy in a way. Like it wasn't like a big long drawn out thing. It was just we asked, and he said yeah. We
I,
just asked him. We said, "Can you come up to Toronto and be in the video with us?" And he said, "Sure."
it was the coolest thing ever to see that. And then just as all the albums drop, you still have that harder layer. Did you ever think of having another kind of like, metal influence like that come back? Are we going to see that with this double album? Are you going to have any special guests on it?
There are no guests on the record. There was some talk about it. We've never really done that, and it just, as the record starts moving along, it just gets finished, and we're like, well, I guess we're done the record now. So, those ideas come up early on, and then once the songs are done, we're like, I don't know, maybe we just leave it as is.
Do you have a release date for it? Do we have a date where we're going to get it?
There's no release date for it yet. No, not yet. I have a feeling it'll probably be, early next year, kind of like spring. That's what
Okay,
I
good.
think. But
Um,
all that stuff's being worked out right now.
was it fun? Was it easy to? I feel like that for doing the double album, you've got way more songs. I feel like the freedom was probably fun to where you could just kind of put it all out there, with two different kind of genres, I guess, of who Sum 41 is. So was it fast to make?
It wasn't really that fast, but it also wasn't intentional. There was no thought or idea to make a double album. The music just kind of came out that way. And I'm always a believer in the music tells you what to do. So I didn't have this idea of like, I'm going to write a bunch of pop punk songs and write a bunch of heavy songs. I was just writing stuff and collecting music, and I didn't know what it was for. And one day I just decided, okay, I've got all these songs. I'm going to put them on a disc and go drive around in the car and listen to just see what I have. And once I listened to it all, it kind of spoke to me. It was just like, this needs to be a double album. And because they're two separate albums. Uh, there was no thought of it. There's no, and even with the band, I didn't tell them, hey, I think this is a double album. I just sent them the music and said, listen to everything that I've been working on. Tell me what you think. And one by one, each guy came back and said, what do you think about doing a double album? So the music spoke to all of us.
And the new single, one of the single landmines, it's so good. Well, we know which side that will fall on the album. To me, listening
Yeah,
to
yeah.
that new
That's
single,
the heaven for sure.
yeah. That song kind of, now I'm not saying it's a throwback to like that early Sum 41 we fell in love with, but I feel like you guys kind of did a little homage to your beginning Sum 41 self, or am I totally just reaching?
No, I think it is. Like I was saying, like the heaven side has an element of early Sum
Right.
41 energy, spirit, sound. I mean, it is a little different. Like, it doesn't necessarily sound like All Killer or Half Hour Power or Does Look Affected like those early records, but it has the same sort of spirit and energy from that era.
Before I talk about, so you guys played Hellfest this year, and When You Were Young just finished. I want to talk about that before
Yeah.
we leave, but I have to bring something up because when I was kind of diving into just, information that I did not know before this interview, I did not realize that you worked on Tommy Lee's Methods of Mayhem album. Were you just doing guitar parts on that, or did you contribute? What did you have involved in that? Because I didn't had no idea, and I love that album. I love that whole thing.
Oh, well, I didn't really do a whole lot, to be honest. I was hanging out at Tommy's house one night, and they were working on some stuff. He has a home studio, and it was more of just like we were hanging out drinking and having fun. He said, dude, you want to play something on the record? And I was like, sure, show me a song, tell me what you want me to play. And I just picked up a guitar and probably played some stuff for about an hour or so, and then we just went back to the party. So it was not really we weren't really in the studio because that's not the way Tommy works. It's you're kind of hanging out and having fun, and there's a studio there. Well, let's record something.
Yeah, the most organic way possible. That's amazing. Okay, so now I want to talk about these performances you've done so far. And I agree. Yeah. I was looking up some video footage of Hellfest When We Were Young just happened. And I feel like you guys are at your primo spot. And then I was reading some of the fan comments, and people were saying this is the best they've ever sounded in their whole career. Someone just saw you guys at When You Were Young, and they said that you and Blink had the best live sound. Some are just playing their hearts out right now. Somebody else said, the more time this band's been together, the more unbelievable they are live. And it's true. You guys right now are just, it's like a flawless, perfect performance. Do you feel that too, or no?
Well, I definitely wouldn't say flawless, perfect. I would say it's very enjoyable, and we do feel really good about what guys. I mean, all those musicians on stage, they're such great musicians. Like our drummer, guitar player, like everything, everyone's great. And I feel like we've gotten better over time just playing with each other. I think we're a tighter band. We make a lot of mistakes though, so I would never say flawless or perfect.
Well, it looks perfect when you're watching them on stage. And then of course you guys are playing our sold out iHeartRadio Alter Ego show. So that's going to be good. And it's sold out. So you guys are just going to take it over the top. So it's good to have you guys on the road. I'm very excited for this double album, me in particular, because I'm one of the some fans that like the harder side of it all. But I can't wait to get it. We're playing the single, and I'm so glad I got to talk to you. So hopefully I'll get to see you guys at Alter Ego in California. And thanks for your time. We're all waiting for it. Big fans here. So we love all you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're excited to play the show. It's gonna be great.
All right. Have a good one.